thank you to Piero, thank you to Tammy for inviting me and having me here, and my very distinguished co-presenters. The title of my talk is Digitizing Spoken Poetry in the Age of Social Media. And I'm going to start with an unusual claim that I want to present to all of you. It's this. It's the idea that poetry actually is all around us, right? That you can certainly quote me. And you might think that's a little unusual, but it's true. Think of this. Think of hymns and chants and sacred books and song lyrics we sing every day, and what's quoted in movies, and what we see in ads and greeting cards and tweets when people want to try to be creative, text messages even. How about special occasions? During Queen Elizabeth's Golden Jubilee, right? The Wordsworth sonnet composed upon Westminster Bridge was recited. During funerals and eulogies, what do we turn to for comfort? We turn to poetry. It may not be at the very forefront of our minds anymore, but it's there. There's a problem. There are actually a few problems. The first one is that since the 18th century, since the 19th century, there's been a decline in poetry. There's been a decline in the interest in poetry, right? The poet in the 19th century, if you think of someone like Matthew Arnold, he was the greatest cultural authority ever. The poet was at the center of culture. That's not the case anymore, right? Poetry and the poet have been displaced. It's been decentered. That's one problem that I have to address. The second problem is, how does one access poetry today in our contemporary age? It's another problem. If you go to a website such as the Poetry Foundation, it is an excellent site. One can find many things, but it's hard to navigate, right? It's not a site that many people know. Maybe people in this room, yes, but a general public, absolutely not. And if one tries to look for a recording of a poem, just imagine any poem, right? Let me think of In a Station at the Metro by Ezra Pound, right? You will be lucky if you can find one recording of that poem. So that's another problem. And then there's the tech revolution. SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify. You might think, well, what's he talking about? These are absolutely great things. Yes, yes. But they have privileged music, they have privileged contemporary music, but they have forgotten about poetry, right? Poetry is not at the center of these platforms, right? And that might be understandable. That might be understandable. Here's what I'm proposing that we need. A massive online social community of comparable quality as all these other platforms for uploading and sharing original recordings of poetry. What does that look like? That looks like classic stuff like Sappho and Shakespeare, of course. I wouldn't stand up here without saying something like that, something that is so dear to me. But how about slam poetry too, and rap, and religious verses, right? That's all poetry. Very different styles, created in different eras, but that is all poetry. That is all created in verse. So imagine, just imagine, a site that has 349 recordings of Shakespeare's Sonnet 29, one that you have personally uploaded, and 1,000 recordings of John 3:16, 1,249 recordings of a passage from the Quran, 251 recordings of Maya Angelou's Still I Rise, in addition to original poetry by aspiring artists, maybe poets that go to City Lights bookstore, and original rap lyrics. All of this found in one platform. How about being able to upload a recording from your mobile device. How about a platform that has user likes that we are so familiar with today? How about hashtags for poets or themes or moods or forms like the sonnet or the villanelle or period, right? This is a romantic poem or faith or speaker, what have you, all the possibilities for the hashtag. And how about a user profile? How about if someone wants to create a profile that they can share all of the poems that they have recorded and uploaded to the system and creating playlists? How about sharing playlists of poems, not just music, not just songs, but how about poems about San Francisco? How about poems about love or spring, being in college, poems about grief or friendship, poems that were written in the first century and yesterday, all in one single playlist? How about, of all those 300 recordings of Shakespeare that we have, there's one top recording because we know, because we've been tracking all the user likes. There's been one recording that's been getting the most attention. How about podcasts? How about classroom channels, actor portfolios, links to Facebook and Twitter, or easily share recordings on Facebook and Twitter? Well, that's what I'm here to say. I sound like a salesman, but I'm not. This is what I've spent a lot of time on in the past few years. It's what I call recited verse. And recited verse, the aspiration for recited verse is to bring all of these ideas to this platform. I've partnered with faculty and students at USF in computer science. I now have a partnership with faculty in Stanford, at UCLA too. It is an online social community for original audio recordings of poetry, right? And it's all user generated, and that's what's special about it. One of my motivations has been creating this, or reigniting the spirit of recitation, right? That's not something we do anymore, right? Recitation by listening to a poem through repetition, whether you're walking in the park, commuting to work, driving, wherever you might be driving. Another motivation for me is changing the landscape of literary criticism, the criticism of my field, right? Now you find scholarly work in journals, in monographs, right? But how about finding literary criticism in comments, right? Comments that users have left, right? Comments that are happening back and forth, right? Using this comment platform that we know to generate knowledge, right? Because there's a lot of knowledge that is being generated. There's a lot more to say, but I wanted to show you what we have so far. I feel like that would be most significant. So let me show you. We do have a beta site at this point. It is a humble site, I will say. It's not the most elaborate, but let me sign in and show you how it works. So this is the home page. It gives me recordings that are trending. So these are the ones that have been liked the most. There are featured recordings, right, from the array of our bank, and then the recordings that have been most recently uploaded. Let me demonstrate. Let me show you my profile. This is my profile. These are all my recordings. The internet is taking a little while. I'll grab the mic as it's loading. So it's here in the profile where I can see all my recordings. I can see which ones are the most popular. I can see which ones have been liked, that I have liked, who's following me, who I follow, and the playlist that I've generated, right? I'll just skip it for the sake of time and show you how an upload works. So I'm going to allow the microphone to work. I'm going to hit record now. And I'll do a Frost poem that most of you probably know. Let's see. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Okay, so I can play that back now. Oh, let's see. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Okay, so you play it back. Let's just assume that I like it. I hit continue, and then I put the poem details here. If it's been recorded before, then it's all pre-populated, and then I can just submit it with an image that I select, or I can upload my own image. We have a bank of images too in the website, and it goes onto my profile, and it goes onto the main homepage, and everyone who's using recited verse can see it. For the sake of time, I'm just going to show you what we're doing now. What will the real release look like? I'm trying to make it look like it belongs in 2019, you know? This is the prototype for the sign-in page. This is our new logo with the classic microphone. This will be the new home page. It'll feature a poet of the week, a recording of the week. This will be the poem page. And then this is the new profile page with our beautiful model up here. And actually, let me go back and show you. This is the comments section, right? And what I'm hoping that my team of computer scientists will be able to generate is, like Facebook, be able to bring up to the foreground, right, the trending conversations, the trending discussions, those comments which are getting the most attention, those conversations which are getting the most attention. Okay, thank you.